We started off our news package with some ambient music setting the scene. We used Adobe After Effects for the retro 80s theme in the background too, with snippets of us reporting news previously and recorded gameplay. Thereafter, Jordan is seen in the studio where we filmed our first opening with our ticker coming in on the bottom left-hand corner. He gives a quick introduction to the topic and what we'll be discussing in the report. After this shot, it fades into myself walking and speaking in front of the camera with hand gestures in conjunction with the second ticker coming on the bottom of the screen. After this, it fades into shots of political leaders. Donald Trump gives a quick statement too at the end of the sequence where he talks about how he thinks video games promote violence. Hereafter, we move on to the continuous narration of myself speaking about the topic and shots of people playing video games and screen recordings. After this, we introduce a news story where a 19-year-old shot 17 people at a school in the United States. This continues on with other relevant shots regarding the shooting with the copy of the Connecticut's report and an overlay of our own gameplay in the background and the opening scene of the game Move Dance Revolution to make the viewer aware for what kind of video game the shooter used in terms of inspiration. We move on to shots in London representing people and the public relating to video games where they have misconceptions about violence. And in conjunction with this, we have many gameplay screen recordings with the narration still continuing through the report. Factors that may be contributing to violent acts such as child abuse, where video games... After the child abuse scene, we see that there is another shot of me walking towards the camera outside a gaming store in London called HMV to find out more about what the public think about video games and their relation to violence.
Games promote violence.
My view on video games and violence is that they're not really related. They can be, but mainly it's...
After completing the HMV scene, we move on to the psychologist interview, where there is a wide-angle shot of me walking down to a university campus, and in this instance, it will be the University of Hertfordshire. Then there are snippets of our interviewee working where she has shots of her typing on her laptop and putting her glasses on as if she's about to read something, and in relation to what we're doing currently, it will be the interview. After this, we have the full interview with shots in between linking into what she's saying and change of angle of the shot too.
You can do socially with people all around the world, playing games through that, and it's a fun, entertaining way of spending your time. Or if you want time on your own, in the privacy of your own room, you can go ahead and you can soak into video games. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will promote violent behaviour. People with violent tendencies will tend to go towards one way or another. But if you don't naturally have those tendencies, then you're not going to turn out to be a serial killer just because you're playing a video.
Once the interview was complete, we moved on to our monochrome shot where we have a quote by Donald Trump relating to video games and violence. The colorization was done on Adobe Premiere Elements, and fade-in was done when his quote appeared in sync with the narration. The video then continues on with an array of shots which we filmed and some which we found on the internet too that link into what we're talking about until we got to the statistics. The statistics shot has a monochrome colorization to it too, after the overlay of the movement in the gameplay is seen in the background, and our statistic is shown on screen clear to the viewers. This was done once again using Adobe's amazing features. Undeniable connection. The age rating, 32 plus, landed at 90%, whereas 13 to 18 landed on 13% agreeing with this statement. The teens clearly understand the consequences of video games and violence as they play these games, unlike the elders, who have built-in perceptions for bad experiences. The topic of video games and violence. Finally, we move on to our closing shot at the end of the video where I come up to the camera and say the closing sentence, and it fades out into the retro 80s After Effects theme at the end with the ambient music and our logo coming in and out with our social media links displayed at the end just before a dark fade out right at the end.